Tab. You've ever heard of a place so beautiful, yet so deadly, that it's earned the nickname the Lake of the Vanished? Today, we're journeying to the remote, pristine waters of Lake Anjakuni, a place shrouded in mystery and whispered tales of unexplained disappearances that defy all logical explanation. It's a place where serene landscapes hide a chilling secret, a place that has baffled investigators and intrigued paranormal enthusiasts for decades. What really happened at Lake Anjakuni? Is it a natural phenomenon, a well-orchestrated hoax, or something far more sinister? Join me as we dive deep into one of Canada's most enduring and terrifying mysteries. Our story begins in the winter of 1930. Joe LaBelle, a seasoned fur trapper, was making his way through the harsh, frozen wilderness of northern Canada. He knew these lands like the back of his hand, and he was familiar with the small, thriving Inuit village nestled on the shores of Lake Anjakuni. He'd visited many times, trading furs and sharing stories. The village was always bustling, full of life, laughter, and the sounds of a close-knit community. But on this particular day, an eerie silence hung in the frigid air. As LaBelle approached, he felt a knot of unease tighten in his stomach. No dogs barked a welcome. No smoke curled from the chimneys. The entire village was unnervingly quiet. It was as if the life had been sucked right out of it. He called out, his voice swallowed by the vast empty landscape. There was no reply. Cautiously, he entered the village. What he found would haunt him for the rest of his life and become the cornerstone of this baffling mystery. The huts were empty, but not ransacked. Everything was in its place. He found pots of stew, now frozen solid, still hanging over long extinguished fire pits. It looked as though the villagers had been in the middle of preparing a meal and had simply vanished. In one tent, he found a half-mended sealskin coat with a needle still stuck in it, as if the seamstress had been interrupted mid-stitch. Rifles were leaning against the walls of the huts, something no Inuit would ever leave behind, especially in the unforgiving wilderness. It was their primary tool for hunting and protection. This was a critical clue, too. For the villagers to abandon their weapons meant they either left in an extreme hurry or they didn't leave by choice. But the most disturbing discovery was yet to come. LaBelle went to the village's burial ground. He found that the graves had been opened and emptied. The sacred resting places of their ancestors had been desecrated. This was a profound taboo in Inuit culture, an act so unthinkable it sent a shiver down LaBelle's spine. Who would do such a thing? And why? He also found the villagers' sled dogs, a team of 7 strong, loyal animals, starved to death, still tethered to their posts. This was perhaps the most heartbreaking and confusing piece of the puzzle. The Inuit people share an incredibly deep bond with their dogs. They are family, essential for survival. For them to be abandoned and left to starve was inconceivable. It suggested the villagers didn't just walk away. Something took them. Panicked, LaBelle mushed his dog team to the nearest telegraph office, miles away, and sent a message to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the famous Mountie, a report of an entire village of men, women, and children. Some say as many as 30, others claim over 1,000 disappearing without a trace, triggered an immediate investigation. When the Mounties arrived, they confirmed everything LaBelle had reported. The village was a ghost town, frozen in time. They began a thorough search of the surrounding area. They scoured the landscape for miles in every direction, looking for tracks, signs of a struggle, anything that could explain where nearly 24 people had gone. They found nothing. No footprints leading away from the village, no signs of a struggle, no evidence of an attack by wildlife or another tribe. It was as if the people of Anjakuni had been plucked from the face of the earth. As the investigation deepened, more strange details emerged. Other trappers and locals in the area reported seeing a strange, pulsating cylindrical light in the sky around the time the village was thought to have been abandoned. They described a bizarre, glowing object that moved silently and unpredictably across the northern sky before vanishing. Could this be a clue? Was there a connection between this unidentified flying object and the disappearance of the entire village? The story of the vanishing village of Anjakuni quickly spread, capturing the public's imagination and spawning countless theories. The official report from the Mounties was inconclusive, simply stating that the villagers had likely migrated to another area, though they could offer no evidence to support this. Too many, this explanation felt weak and unsatisfactory. Why would they leave their food, their weapons, and their dogs to die? D. This is where the story splits into fact, folklore, and outright fiction. Skeptics argue that the entire tale is an elaborate fabrication, a piece of journalistic sensationalism. They point to an article written by a reporter named Frank Edwards in the 1950s, known for his paranormal stories. They claim he embellished, or even invented, the story of Joe LaBelle and the vanishing village. Some researchers have tried to find the original Mountie report and have come up empty-handed, suggesting it may never have existed. V. They argue that there was never a large village at Lake Anjikuni to begin with, only small nomadic family groups. But believers and researchers of the unexplained hold firm. They argue that the lack of official records could be a sign of a cover-up. If something truly extraordinary happened, something involving, say, extraterrestrial abduction, would the government want that information public? They point to the consistency in the reports of the strange lights in the sky from multiple independent witnesses. These sightings, they say, cannot be so easily dismissed. The alien abduction theory is one of the most popular. Proponents suggest that the strange cylindrical light was an alien craft, and the villagers were taken for reasons we can only guess. This would explain the lack of tracks, the suddenness of the departure, and the strange selective way things were left behind. It's a wild theory, but in a case with no logical answers, people begin to look for illogical ones. Another theory suggests a more terrestrial, but equally mysterious explanation. Some believe the village fell victim to a local legend, a malevolent spirit of the north, known as the Wendigo. This creature from Algonquin folklore is said to be a malevolent cannibalistic spirit that can possess humans. Could a dark ancient force have been at play? This theory taps into the deep, spiritual beliefs of the native peoples of the region, suggesting that there are powers in the wilderness that modern man does not understand. Then there's the possibility of a portal or a dimensional rift. Some paranormal investigators speculate that Lake Anjikuni might be a liminal space, a place where the veil between our world and another is thin. Perhaps the villagers didn't travel across land, but through a gateway to another dimension, either accidentally or intentionally. This would explain the clean disappearance, with no trace left behind. So what are we left with? A gripping campfire story, a journalistic hoax that spiraled out of control, or a genuine unsolved mystery that points to forces beyond our comprehension. Jirth. The truth about Lake Anjikuni remains as elusive as the villagers themselves. The official record is silent, but the legend endures. The story has been passed down through generations, evolving with each telling, a chilling reminder of the vast, untamed wilderness and the secrets it might hold. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. How can an entire community just vanish? In a world where we can track almost anything, how can there be no evidence, no bodies, no answers? Lake Anjikuni stands as a monument to the unknown, a testament to the idea that no matter how much we think we know about our world, there are still corners of it that remain shrouded in profound and terrifying mystery. Perhaps the most haunting part of the Anjikuni legend is its ambiguity. We are left with a void, a vacuum of information that we desperately try to fill with theories, from the logical to the supernatural. But in the end, we simply don't know. The silence of Lake Anjikuni is the only real answer we have, and it speaks volumes. What do you think happened to the lost villagers of Anjikuni? Was it aliens, a mythical beast, an elaborate lie, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. The mystery continues, and perhaps, one day, the frozen lake will give up its secrets. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you found this mystery as fascinating as I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest unsolved cases. Stay curious and see you in the next video.